welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Reviews, I guess.
Yeah,
TV reviews. I guess this could be a Netflix and kill, technically.
Well, we only really do either first episodes of things or movies.
Mm-hmm. We're switching all that up anyway. But anyway,
we do what we want.
You know, we're defending the integrity of Netflix and kill right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important because we are talking about the Defenders.
I'm not looking for super friends.
Shit.
That doesn't matter. Can't fight these people. Not even with whatever it is your hand can do. It's cheap.
It's not.
They're hunting our friends, our families, and they're not gonna stop there.
More death is coming. And the only thing keeping Manhattan from crumbling to a pile of dust is the four of you.
The war for New York. It's over.
Not yet.
Nice ears.
They're horns.
I can see you've formed a kind of bond. I promise you it's temporary.
Elektra.
They will disappoint you.
Jessica.
Like it or not, we belong out there together.
I'm glad we found each other. I'm not hugging you.
And who is talking about the defendant superheroes? Well, it's me, Nick, the Mark with a Mic, and my very own unapologist defender,
Travis.
And yeah, so we this is going to be a much more timely review than some of our other Marvel shows, because it was only 8 episodes, and we had like the weekend free. I don't have to work weekends anymore, so we actually got through this pretty quick. So yeah, we just wrapped it up and decided like, hey, we're both here, why don't we do a review?
Might as well get it up quick.
So yeah, it's all culminated to this. The Netflix series Daredevil Seasons 1 and 2, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, they've all come to this specific place.
You're forgetting one.
Am I?
Yeah, I think you are.
Are you sure?
Well,
I mean... That's 4 seasons, like that's the 4 seasons of the shows, right? There's 2 Daredevils in the show? Is that how it works? There's just 2 Daredevils?
No. Sorry.
Oh, wait, there's that one other kid. Yes, and also Iron Fist is there. And we'll get to him. But yeah, for those of you who have not listened in before to some of our reviews, we will do a spoiler section at the end, but we'll let you know, and we'll give you a fair warning. We're going to do a musical break in between. There should be no reasons, that you should be mad. But we will do, like, I guess you call them light spoilers for, like, the first couple episodes, because we kind of have to talk about, like, what's going on. So it's
still a review. Yeah,
it's still a review, so, like, if you want to go in completely cold... now I would, go in and watch it.
Just scat.
Yeah, my short review is that, yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. I would say definitely even adequate. But, I guess I have some mixed feelings on it, but overall I'm not, like, pissed that I watched it, like, when I watched Iron Fist. But yeah, we'll get in that, right now. So... Travis, we had the first episode, of course, is all pretty much set up.
The first, 2 episodes are set up.
Yeah, but the first episode specifically is kind of showing us where everybody's at. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like resetting everybody. Some people are back to 0. Some people are, at their, lower points. We got Daredevil is dealing with the fallout from Season 2. Where he's pretty much doing pro bono work. Mm-hmm. He's not doing the vigilante thing anymore.
Hung up the cowl.
Yeah, and
it makes a lot more sense than when Batman did it, because he didn't just become a recluse.
Yeah. No, he's actually going to do stuff. And Luke Cage is getting out of jail after his mishap with Cottonmouth and Diamondback from his series. He's all worried about Mariah and Shades now, which I thought that we might get an appearance from them, but they never end up showing up.
No.
We get Turk, though. Turk's here.
He does show up.
Yeah. Jessica Jones is still dealing with kind of the aftermath of Kilgrave.
Being mindfucked took it out of her.
Yeah, and she is like hasn't taken on any new cases. She's kind of being monitored by Hogarth, who Foggy is now working with Hogarth, which is cool. We get a lot of crossover from some of the other characters rather than the actual defendants themselves. Like Foggy is told to keep an eye on Hogarth.
On Jessica.
Hogarth. Hogarth tells Foggy to keep an eye on Jessica. Where the hell am I? I'm as drunk as Jessica right now.
Possibly.
And she's got a problem. Everybody kind of stumbles on their own end of this conspiracy / kind of investigation. And it kind of leads them all to each other. Jessica is investigating a missing person,
missing husband.
And I love that because it's like her profile. Like, I'm giving you my professional opinion. He's cheating on you. So
and to be fair, the signs are there.
Yeah. Luke is dealing with, he hooks up with Rosario Dawson first and foremost.
Oh, yeah.
That is
they get coffee.
That is the first thing on the docket. And, sweet Christmas, do they, ever wreck that kitchen table. And
the dining room set. And the chairs. And possibly the drapes.
A fucking for the ages. He starts to investigate, young people in Harlem, young kids are getting roped up in some mysterious thing. They don't know what it is, but they know that they just keep showing up dead. The cops can't figure it out, so Luke is like, I knew the sister of one of the victims, so I'll look into it. I'll see what's going on. Typical hero for hire stuff. And Iron Fist and Colleen are running around. I think they were in Cambodia or something.
That was the first episode, was Cambodia.
Yeah, and they're still hunting the Hand, and their fight with the Hand leads them back to New York. And
after being attacked by a mysterious assassin.
Which at first I thought it was Colleen because they kept her face in shadow. I'm like, wait, why are they keeping Colleen's face in shadow? Because at first this is to show Iron Fist just shows a woman fighting another chick, but I'm like, oh wait, nope, it's not Colleen, it's Elektra, the other woman ninja on the show,
right?
And he gets roped back. Like, how does Daredevil get hooked up into it again? Like, what was he doing?
He gets hired by Foggy, essentially, to protect Jessica.
That's right. Yeah, that's where he comes in on it, right.
Because Foggy's basically like, alright, we have to keep you busy so you don't, relapse.
Yeah, they're treating Matt's, vigilantism like a drug addiction.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and they, this is not a long-term solution, but this will keep you busy enough to where you won't relapse, hopefully.
You kind of work through the system.
Everything gets kind of shaken up when Sigourney Weaver hits the scene, and she's
amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty good as the villain here. She always has a great screen presence, and she comes on. She turns out to be one of the other 5 fingers of the Hand. We have realized from Iron Fist season 1 that we've already met a couple of the fingers of the Hand. We have Madame Gao. She's one of the fingers. That makes sense. Since all the way back to
Daredevil season
1, which to me, and then we also have Nobu's, the guy who's pulling the strings behind Nobu in his section of the Hand, a character that I actually don't remember the name of because he seemed like a pretty neat character, that was going to be important, but then kind of never was.
No.
But then we also get Bakuto from Iron Fist. He gets revived or respawn. and he turns out he's one of the fingers of the hand. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of feels like some of that is a retcon. Like Madame Gao also being like, it makes sense that she's also a function of the hand.
Well, she pretty much admitted to us in season 1, you just misunderstood it as something else.
Yeah.
She said home was so far, far away.
Yeah, I thought she meant, Kunlun and that she was part of all that. And that was right. I just thought she was something different because the other ninja was part of the hand. I thought Madame Gao was different, but like they've kind of reimagined it to where the hand is a organization that is run by these 5 immortals that have like lived forever. And I'm going to tell you, I did not get that feeling from Bakuto and Iron Fist's season 1. No.
See, I never actually did watch that show.
No, and you don't have to. Like everything that you need to know about it gets pretty much like they let you know here. Like it's not a big deal. You'll just be confused as to who Colleen Wing is and why she's so pissed Bakuto is still alive. And yeah, he never felt like a immortal being to me.
No, he seemed kind of wimpy to me.
Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but like, yeah, he's a flat villain. And speaking of flat characters, I'm still not sold on Iron Fist. I feel like Finn Jones was not a great fit for this character. He does better in an ensemble piece where other people can pick up the slack, where he's not the main focus.
Yeah. We are forgetting one of the hands, or fingers of the hand. Sawande, the black guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He ends up not mattering that much either.
True.
But he's the one that Luke is after, because he's the one that, like, is recruiting the kids from Harlem.
Right.
And yeah, it turns out that these guys are part of the hand. They've been alive for like ever. They are entwined with Kunlun in their like long running battle with the servants of Kunlun called the Chaste. That's the people that Stick is a part of. The show opens with the Chaste just getting fucking wiped out.
Yeah.
And Stick is captured. Shit has just not gone their way. And prepare for that to be, like, the most, basically, competent we ever see the hand in the season. Like, shit is not really going...
Both the hand and the Chase are kind of like, you guys are really terrible at your job.
Maybe they're, like...
They're just that incompetent?
I don't know. I feel like if you were at this for, like, thousands of years, like, you'd be a little bit better at it than this.
Maybe.
But yeah, like, because they bring back Elektra, we see that very early. They bring back Elektra as the Black Sky, who's supposed to be just this empty vessel where nothing of Elektra remains, and she's got a little bit of an upgrade. She's kicking the shit out of Luke.
Yeah,
so
she basically one hit takes out Luke and Jessica at one point, and we're like, alright, so you got super strength now, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like her power level fluctuates throughout the season a little bit. And, I really like Sigourney Weaver in some of the later episodes we get with her, raising the Black Sky like it's her own child, sort of thing. She is commanding the screen with all the other fingers, like, it feels like they kind of vie for power.
Though they basically openly admit, like, oh, we're just going to backstab each other the next second we get.
Well, yeah, later in the season that becomes very apparent that that's basically what they do, but it seems like Sigourney Weaver has been in charge for a while.
Yeah.
Like, if there is one person that's definitively in charge, it's her.
She's definitely the middle finger.
Yeah. I like that a lot. But yeah, the Defenders... hook up and kind of like realize like, oh, we're all chasing after the same people.
In a really awesome scene, though.
Oh, yeah, it culminates. Well, we should get to that, too, because that's the third episode. The third episode is where this kind of, like, kicks off, like, really starts to kick off. Everything else is very much set up.
In fact, the Defenders don't really even meet each other until, like, the end of the second.
Episode 2 is where Jessica and Matt meet, and then Luke and Danny meet. Where, of course, it's the traditional, like, well, the heroes meet for each other for the first time, and they have to fight each other for a misunderstanding. But still, it's funny because I get to see Luke Cage lay out Iron Fist a bunch, and so that's fun.
But we also get to see Luke get his face punched in.
Yeah, because of the Iron Fist, and that hurts. Like, I didn't like that he comes back with an ice pack. Like what happened to you? Some guy decked me. And like with for anyone else that'd be a standard like, oh, okay, but for Luke it's like, whoa, that guy must have had a really mean hook for it to affect you.
Yeah, but because of the person he's talking to.
Yeah, and because it's Rosario Dawson, who again MVP of the show. Like I like her. I wish she was in it a little bit more, but she is in quite a significant amount. But like a lot of the sub characters get a little bit of the short shrift.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me. We'll get to that in a minute in the balance of this show. But Rosario Dawson is like, wait, so what? Who had you? Like some skinny white guy? Do you have a glowing hand? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird you say that.
Okay, yeah, I know what we gotta do. And they call him, and like this is like the best part of where the show is actually that they are. The banter between the characters, like especially Matt and Jessica, are awesome. Like those two characters, like talking to each other, are hilarious.
Yeah,
because Jessica's just like, geez, this whole thing is bullshit. I can't believe I'm even part of this. This is all fucking crazy. And I like Luke and Iron Fist together, even though it's probably a lot of that's probably just me from the comics of just like, hey, the best buddy team up ever.
No, I liked them together too.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, no, I actually did like it. That was probably the best scenes with Iron Fist was when he was with Luke.
When he's bouncing off of Luke, yeah. And that was pretty fun. I like that they have like a little sit down, like after a little pissing contest first.
Well, to be fair, like, having not watched Iron Fist, I was basically with Luke the whole entire time, like, yeah, that sounds really dumb.
Yeah, and so where this show shines, really, for me, is these little moments between these characters, like, seeing just how they work together and what scenarios we can come up with, because Matt is, like, following Jessica at one point, and we see him following her in, like, this kind of unbroken shot, which is really cool. There's a lot of really long shots in this show.
There is. They've always been pretty good at that, even since like Daredevil season 1.
And this is a show run by the same guy that's run the previous seasons of Daredevil. Mm-hmm. So that makes sense to me. That this show feels cinematography wise, it feels like a season of Daredevil. Yeah. It's not quite Jessica Jones level, and then Luke Cage. It only feels like Luke Cage every once in a while when the soundtrack kicks in.
Mostly when Luke Cage shows up.
Yeah, and we see we see Matt following Jessica, and then suddenly he's following the footprints, he's honed in on her specifically, and then he loses track of him for a while, and he's like, what the fuck? And then we realize like, oh, she's jumped, she's jumped like dude, and then we see like the shot going behind him, and we see her following him now. And it's like this great little cat and mouse thing, like, oh fuck, that's amazing. I love that little, just the little moments like what everyone can do and the little powers bouncing off of each other.
It also shows like how smart each of them is, because then like Matt realizes, oh, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Then he immediately just ninjas off. Yeah. Except Jessica, being as smart as she is, like, oh yeah, I have a camera on me because of course I do. I'm a PI.
Yeah, it's almost underscored with the just chit like. And yeah, she like has the immediate brainwave to like take pictures, which is great later in that same episode because it's like, look, I know that you did some ninja shit to get away from me, and like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. I have pictures, and then he immediately drops the facade and just smashes the camera. Like, well, hey, fuck it then.
No, you don't. Also, someone might want to introduce Jessica to digital.
And so I'm not gonna lie, the show, while I was enjoying those little moments as well, it was dragging for me in those first 2 episodes. And I was kind of like, okay, it takes a little too long for everybody to meet each other, and that's the reason that I'm watching the show. Yeah. It's like, look, it'd be like if I were to read a team-up comic, only the characters don't actually meet each other until issue 3. It's weird, okay?
A little bit.
It's fucking weird. And I mean, maybe I would have opened up with a flash forward, like something you were saying before, like some sort of like
flashback.
Open up with the fight in the business building first, and then like have Daredevil, like, you know, like have a bunch of them fighting, and then like Daredevil or Iron Fist go through a wall and be like, okay, maybe we should back up, or like look, let me explain like how we got here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
no, actually, you know who would be a really good narrator for that whole scene? Just have Claire do it.
Yeah.
Have every person get the shit beat on by somebody, and then just have Claire go like, alright, this is what happened to this person, just kind of like rewind it a little bit, because she's the one that connects them all to begin with anyway.
Yeah, actually, that would have been kind of neat too. But the fight where they finally show up, where because one of the things I like is that like Luke Cage basically talks to Iron Fist about his basically his white privilege.
Yeah,
and one of the things I don't like is that like we still have to tell Iron Fist that a thing that should be readily obvious.
It made him seem really dumb.
It's like, why don't... Okay, so if you have all this money and a corporation behind you, why don't you take the fight to the hand with that? And I'm like...
Because that would make sense.
Like, yeah, it never occurred to anybody, like, maybe I should use my resources and legal team, my fucking money, what... And so Danny gets the brainwave like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. And then I'll go confront the people that I'm gonna be using my resources against and say that I'm doing that thing.
Yeah, that wasn't the brightest idea.
I don't know what his endgame there was. I do not understand. Like, I'm like, why are you here?
He doesn't seem to get it. He only seems to be like, I'm gonna hit things. Any other plan? No, I'm just gonna hit it. Solid plan.
Yeah, especially when we learn later that the hand is actually after the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Like, he did the worst thing he could possibly have done.
Especially since they didn't know where he was.
Yeah, they're like, man, he's off the grid. We don't know where the Iron Fist is, and it's like, well, I don't know what we're gonna do. I guess we'll have to send more resources out to get him. And yeah, he just walks into the fucking building. And it's like, oh, well, that was easy. All right.
Like, wish this happened more often. Jeez.
Well, he's in the middle of his speech, and then like Sigourney Weaver just comes like from behind him and is like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You were saying something?
God, that's such a great scene.
No, she totally commands the room there. And I love her line too, is like, you know, I've dealt with some other, like a lot of other Iron Fists in my time, but this time's gonna be different, because I'm not gonna kill you. And it's like, yeah. Kind of like in a one line of just like, oh, this is a character to not be fucked with.
No.
And then I love it because he gets in trouble and Luke Cage comes in to save his ass.
Which is weird because at first I was just like, yeah, well, here comes Wave 2. It's going to be, you know, Matt and Jessica. And then it's Luke like, where the fuck did you come from?
Yeah, so like Luke out of nowhere for the save. And it's fucking great because the fighting in this show is a lot better. The choreography is done by definitely the Daredevil people, because in Iron Fist there's way less cuts. You can actually see people fighting. It's just a lot. I forgot how good the fighting is in these shows. It's been a long time since Daredevil season 2.
Right, because since I didn't see Iron Fist, I basically turned to Nick like, didn't you say the fighting was really terrible for Iron Fist?
Yeah, and I was all excited like, it was not this fucking good, because this is some good shit right here.
But again, I'm pretty sure like the guy playing Iron Fist like literally didn't even get training for like the first season.
I think no, he did get training, but he was training while shooting.
Yeah,
like he was. So in this one, he's had more time. He's probably better choreography wise. Plus, it's just shot better.
Yeah.
Like we can make excuses that, oh well, maybe Danny didn't know how to fight, but there's plenty of other fights in Iron Fist that are like, yeah, this fight is just choppy as fuck, and it's not very well. It's just not good, and the choreography isn't there.
Yeah,
like
the only time this show I had problems with, every once in a while they had like the lighting things. They kept changing the lighting. I'm like, I can't see what's going on here.
Yeah, and
but that only happens like 1 or 2 fights.
Yeah, well, it'll happen when you're fighting ninjas.
Yeah, it's true.
So yeah, and then we get Matt hears a silenced gunshot, which is awesome, and he rips off Jessica's scarf to go in and help out.
Which, you know, pretty sure they probably have security cameras around there. Like, just a thought.
Oh, excuse me. Oh man, I'm more tired than I thought. Yeah. Oh, the hallway scenes are exhaust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have that fight in the hallway, which is really cool. They face off with Elektra for the first time, and she is definitely a force to be reckoned with. They kind of bug out and get the hell out of there. It's just nice to see them all together in the elevator.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode, it is like everyone is it's like a downtime, kind of like they just hit up this Chinese restaurant, like, okay, we got to lay low for a little bit, and they kind of just like talk it out and figure out where everybody is at and like why everyone's here. And here's my thing with the show is just that the pacing is a little off, which is weird because I thought it would be better for an 8-episode show of like, oh, I'm like, it'll cut out all the fat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's some fat left in here.
There is a little.
There's a lot of people talking, which is and I get it, like and a lot of it is good talking.
No,
like a lot of it is like good, but
I do actually like that episode with the Chinese restaurant because it gets more character interactions.
Oh yeah, and that's like oh yeah, this is what I'm in the show for, is to watch these people like bounce off each other. Now, here's the weird thing is that they focus a lot on the villain, Sigourney Weaver. Like, there's a lot of scenes dealing with her and her, like, kind of just like hinting at what her
end goal is
and what her goals are, like what her kind of personality is, what's important to her. Like, we see her have a private concert of classical music. Yep. We have her
kind of hinting that she basically knows personally like how the music was made.
Yeah, we see her eating at finer restaurants, hinting at like, always dropping hints of like how she's a lot older than she is.
Yeah.
And not to go into too deep of spoilers yet, because we'll save it for a spoiler section, but her character, we never get the big reveal that I thought the show was leading up to with like, okay, we're really going to get to know what her story is and what's like happening with her. And they opt to do something else, and I just don't know if I agree with that something else that they did. So we'll get to there in the spoiler section. But like that, if there was a main problem for me in the show, is that like, oh, then why the hell did we spend a whole shit ton of time with her when we could be not only spending time more with the Defenders, but more time with their support cast?
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that.
Because the supporting cast, which has always been fucking good in this show, because they're all here: Foggy, Karen, Trish, Misty Knight, Colleen Wynn, Rosario Dawson, the Night Nurse, Claire, that's what I was trying to remember her name. They're all fucking here, and they all have the brainwave of like, okay, as soon as they know that they're dealing with the Hand, I love that,
don't forget Malcolm.
Oh yeah, Malcolm, that's right. And I love that Matt and Danny, who have the most experience with the Hand, are like, okay, we gotta go get the people that we love and
do
get
something
them somewhere
with them.
safe.
Yeah.
So they basically throw all those characters into a room, and we see some of them interact.
Basically, we sit down Misty, like, okay, babysit.
Yeah. And I thought that was like, okay, we do get some time with them where some of the supporting characters interact with each other, which is pretty cool. I like Foggy being, Luke's lawyer. That's pretty cool. And Trish and Karen get a scene together. That's nice.
At the same time, though, I literally said out loud, this seems dangerous because these two are going to get each other and themselves killed if they stay together too long.
Yeah, and it's like, the thing with it is I'm like, okay, if we weren't going to have a payoff for the villain, why not just cut some of those scenes that ultimately don't lead anywhere, and I spend more time with the supporting cast talking with each other, if that's what we're gonna do, because like all of Sigourney Weaver's scenes are all like, like they're not bad, like they're fun to watch because
it's Sigourney Weaver.
She commands screen presence and everything, but they all are like teasing like mystery, like, oh, you don't know like what this might mean something later, and without that context later, I feel like, well, that's kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, I should have shortened a little bit of those up.
Yeah, and like we have, certain things to get accomplished in this season, and I realize that there's only like 2 big like missions, because once we realize that the Hand is after Danny, like there's only a couple like conflicts that we can actually have over the course of 8 episodes. Right. So it just takes a little too long to do so. I feel like maybe we had another conflict or something. Like,
I guess the biggest problem is that like we had so many scenes with her, and yet I can't really even tell you still her backstory.
I can tell you a vague sense of her character,
right?
Like, and it's super vague. Like, and it's weird how much time we spend with her, and yet we never really like. And I was waiting for this big, like, okay, here's her end goal, and this is what this has all been leading to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why she's done all the things that she's done. And we never really get that.
No.
It's just the fact that she is finally coming to grips with the fact that she's mortal, and she's like, okay, well, fuck this. I know we had a well-laid plan to do all this quietly and not draw attention to ourselves, but fuck it, I'm dying, and I'm getting mine before I go out.
Yeah.
And yeah, she basically treats Elektra as like her pet / daughter, and like that ruffles some of the other hands' feathers a little bit.
Well, especially too, since that she used the last of their reviving goo to revive Elektra.
Yeah, apparently that revival goo is very, like they were just calling it revival goo. It's very limited, which is also, I'm like, oh, and we wasted it on Bakuto? Really? But apparently he was one of the higher levels of the hand.
Yeah.
But Nobu wasn't. Remember Nobu from season 1 of Daredevil, where I was like, oh, he was a pretty cool ninja, but he lost the first time he fought to Daredevil. Like, so I don't understand why they felt like, oh, well, I don't know, I guess we don't need to revive him. But they ended up reviving him for season 2 of Daredevil, which was one of the other unnecessary things.
Yeah.
And look, the Hand, they're better in this season because they find...
There's faces.
They found some more faces to throw at us, and they're not like this...
shadowy organization.
Yeah, but they're still not very interesting. Because they just refuse to... they do all this cute, vague shit of just like... we're a lot older than you would ever have known, and we want to get back to Kunlun because we want to get more of the goo and be all powerful and forever. I'm like, yeah, but we know none of your personal fucking motivations or why you're doing any of this.
We know they were cast out of Kunlun.
Yeah, and you get like, oh, that must there's contention there. You get a reason for this grudge match, this war, but it never feels personal. Like it never, like it all. It's weird because it happened so long ago, and the characters treated like it happened so long ago. You just never feel very emotionally connected to that and their end goals.
So speaking of Kunlun is like a Shangri-La type place, right?
Yeah, it's like it's hard to explain, but it is kind of like a mystical realm, kind of hidden into pocket dimensions sort of thing, where you can learn to focus your chi and gain enlightenment. Although the show seems to be treating it differently than it is in the comics of like what it actually is. The Hand is not like this in the comics. Like the Hand is a little bit different. They're not immortal for one.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
That's not their thing. They are more of they're like a honor bound to set, like they have like a certain Bushido code sort of thing going on. Elektra has been their leader, at certain points she has been wrapped up in the Hand. I understand why they want to bring her back for this series of Daredevil for the Defenders. It makes sense. But yeah, in the show, the Kunlun people just seem like more. And again, we never see Kunlun. We have never seen it, ever.
Okay. In
the Iron Fist, they never flash back to it. It's just a bunch of people talking about Kunlun. And I'll tell you what, I'm sick of people talking about Kunlun. Shut up. If you're not gonna fucking show it, if you're not gonna show me him fighting a dragon, I'm kind of sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, I want to see him punch a dragon.
And that's what feels like the worst element to me is that we feel beholden to some of the worst parts of Iron Fist, especially regarding Iron Fist's story, which is the focus narrative of this one, because we realize the Hand is very much a part of Iron Fist and Kunlun and the Defender and what the Defenders are fighting, and that's the weakest aspect of just oh, we have to deal with more of this vague bullshit, and it makes me miss Kilgrave and Cottonmouth and these
more straightforward villains.
Well, not even
not so much straightforward, but they're
there, they're in it. Everything is very personal for them.
Yeah,
you understand why they are doing the things that they are doing, and even Diamondback had it in the backstory. It didn't really make a lot of sense, but they did they showed it.
It was still very personal.
And the fucking Hand people are just stereotypical, I'm going to take over the world. And they even say, like, the war only works if both sides think they're the good guys. And I'm like, do you guys think you're the good guys?
Well, they keep bringing, like, we're gonna bring life to the world. Like, what does that mean? They said that so many times, I still have no idea what they mean.
Well, they go back and forth because some of them go like, we are going to bring life to the world, and some of them are like, nah, I'm kind of just in this for me and for immortal life because that's what I'm in for because that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
And then some of them are like, I'm in it for the power and the influence, and I'm like, well, give me your story straight, guys. Like, do you guys think you're the good guys, or do you know that you're being super selfish about this right now? Like, just pick one and go for it. Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't. I wish it wasn't the hand that they were fighting, but we've been locked in since season 2 of Daredevil.
Pretty much.
Season 1, even if you counted back, like of the shadowy stuff that was happening before, and so this basically had to happen. And again, it's not it could have been worse. Like, it could have been a lot worse.
Well, I also have a problem with the fact that they keep bringing up the Black Sky is such a dangerous weapon. We still have no idea why. We've watched the whole show, and spoiler alert, we still have no idea why the Black Sky is so important.
Look, I get that you don't want to explain Elektra's power set, because in the plot, you need it to be where she can get hit and taken out by other people at random, and sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, okay, if she can punch Luke Cage and he can go flying into a wall, how is
she knocked Matt out? And
how is Danny's head still on his body if she punches him in the face? Like, but that's standard, like, comic book superhero stuff. I'm willing to let that slide, but they keep fucking talking about it. And I'm like, just veer off. Don't talk about, like, the Black Side and her abilities. Like, just kind of wash that over, like, hey, she's got some cool shit to do. She's got cool shit. But they keep calling, like, she has inner strength that you have nothing before.
And let's not even forget, this isn't even the first Black Sky.
No.
They killed the first one.
No, like, yeah, that other one, that
small child.
Mm-hmm. We should talk about Stick for a minute, too. Stick, he gets a cool moment in this one that I gotta admit, which is, like, he escapes in a pretty violent way. It's pretty early episode. Should we spoil it?
If you want to.
Yeah, okay, we'll spoil it if you're this far. He fucking...
Well, first he's being taunted by Alexandra, Sigourney Weaver's character.
Yeah.
And, like, she's like, you're never getting out of this one. I have Elektra on my side. You're staying here till you die. He's like, bitch, please.
Yeah, and she cuts the fuck out of his own hand. Like, he cuts his hand off to get out of the cuffs. And it's like, alright, Stick, you might be a dick, but you're dedicated. You got fortitude, and you're dedicated to the cause. And so he shows up, and I love that, like, because he shows up to the restaurant, and Matt is immediately like, oh shit, fuck this guy. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, Data's like, he's given us, like, more information than I've ever gotten from the Kunlun people.
Which is fair.
Which is a fair point. Which makes me think, like, how much of a dick were those monks then? Because it's like, and I love that Matt's like, yeah, it's gonna come at a cost, okay? You're not gonna, like, this guy is not gonna be your friend. And, like, so, Stick, of course, is, I'm not sure if because I was he was a lovable kind of dick before. I kind of liked hating him, you know, like, man, you are such an asshole to Matt. And in this one, he's, like, especially obnoxious. Like, he insinuates, like, well, you know, maybe I was trying to protect you, Matt, from this sort of thing. Like, no, you were gonna play this off as you were protecting, like, kind of trying to protect me?
Yeah,
really?
fuck off.
It's like, no, you were always trying to recruit me to your side in this war. Like, that was always your fucking main goal.
Yep.
And he's a manipulative son of a bitch.
It's true.
And, yeah, he gets into his head like, well, all my dudes are dead because the Chase just aren't very good at this job, apparently.
He's the only one left that we know of.
Yeah, and he's like, well, all I got left is you 4 assholes to work with, so I guess we're doing this. And, yeah, I love that he never refutes anything Matt says about him.
No.
Like,
if we do this, so many of your friends and family are going to get hurt and die. And he just kind of goes, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I love how Luke and Jessica are both, like, you know, are both sitting through this, like, this is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. This is some bullshit.
Says the one with super strength and had a mind-controlling villain, and the other one who has super strong skin. Like, sure, punching a dragon is a little above that, but I feel like they could suspend their disbelief a little.
And I love that, like, Jessica just goes, I'm out! I'm out of this bitch, and she, like, leaves her a little bit, only to come back later in a pretty badass sequence.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna admit, like, I've kind of actually, I realized that I've bitched a lot about this show a lot. But, again, like, the things that work for me are the small moments of, like, anytime the Defenders are actually in a room together, that shit works. Like, that's pretty good.
No, they have good chemistry. Probably the characters have the weakest chemistry is the two opposites that we've talked about, Danny and Matt, and then Luke and Jessica, it's more just they still have that little contention between each other. That's more of a design thing, I think, than anything else.
Yeah, they're still off that awkwardness of, like,
we fucked, you got mind controlled, and I blew your brains out.
Yeah, so they're a little more standoffish with each other because they just, like, they don't really know how to approach each other, which is, like, I think that was a good move. Like, that was, like, we've seen these characters together as well. It's nice to see them together again, but we should focus on the team ups that have not happened yet. I like the moment, like, there's a moment where Jessica gets with Matt later where they talk about each other's backstories, sort of thing. They go on an investigative mission together, which is pretty cool because it shows Matt's, skill at lie detecting and basically being a supernatural, like, finder of stuff, and Jessica, like, being able to, like, her PI skills, like, they get to come into play.
And you just see her acting skills again. God, that's scary.
Yeah. Jessica's a little bit of a sociopath. Let's just lay our cards on the table. Jessica, like, does not care who she has to lie to or what she has to do to, like, accomplish her goal.
No, she really doesn't. It's really entertaining, though.
And I love her and Matt together. I think they're my favorite pair up. Followed closely by Danny and Luke. And the way that the show, like, introduces a new conflict after, like, the restaurant scene is that, like, we get a couple things of, like, Danny, like, I need to fight this war, and, like, they realize how important Danny is, and the main contention is, like, okay, well, we gotta keep you here and lay low.
Yeah, we have to keep you away from the hand.
Yeah, and Danny's like, do you realize this is what they do? They want us to divide us, and it feels like a forced conflict. Like, and it's forced on Danny's end, because I get that he wants to go and fight. Like, he's impulsive. We've seen that from his character. But I feel like someone, like, should have be able to get through to him where it was like, this is the smart play, man. That you are the key. You're the one important. If they get you, it's game over. So it's important that when it comes to you, we play defense. That, like, that's our goal. Like, and I feel like we could have sold that to him more. And I feel like what could have helped it is if Colleen Wynn was there.
Yeah.
Wynn was there. Like, she might have been able to talk him down a little bit. Because, honestly, there's not enough Colleen Wynn in this show. I realize that she's not one of the defenders say it, but she has skills. There's not really a reason that she's not with Danny. Like, everyone else has a reason, like, like, Claire has had training, but, like, she's not really the greatest fighter. Trish, same story.
Yeah.
Like, she's got self-defense stuff, but it's important that they stay out of the way. Colleen Wynn, like, her and Danny have been fighting the hand, like, back to back, like, this whole time.
Right.
So it feels weird that Danny is just like, yeah, I just didn't bring her along. Okay. But, whatever.
I actually didn't really feel like that whole thing was that forced. Mostly because I just kind of got the impression of Danny is, yes, he is impulsive and he doesn't think things through. There is that. But he's kind of like, he's been fighting this fight for so long that he kind of gets blinded by it.
Yeah, and that's definitely part of his character from Iron Fist season 1.
Yeah, so I kind of felt like him being so obsessive to the point where he won't listen to reason isn't that surprising. And he kind of does have a point with the whole, they will mess with you, because that's a shadowy ninja thing.
I suppose, like, we know it's the truth.
We do, but they don't.
and they
like
don't.
they only had to take the villain's word for it.
Yeah, and Matt says like, well, he wasn't lying, and then of course Danny's like, oh, because I read his heartbeat. Like, where the fuck was his heartbeat when he had a fucking knife to my throat?
And the same thing in Elektra is that they proved before that they can't always hear their heartbeats.
Yeah, and it's like if they have control over there, like how much control do they actually have?
Exactly.
So it's not 100% clear. Like, yeah, I guess maybe you know what? Maybe I'm just bringing in some of my stuff from Iron Fist
a little bit,
and I just don't like I just don't like being reminded of like you're not really the Danny Rand that I know from the comics. But I do like that it leads to this fight between Matt and Danny, and I do love that he's supposed to be the immortal Iron Fist, but he's definitely like the weakest part of the crew. I think, like, because it even shows like they even keep mentioning how much of a gifted fighter Matt is. Like he's a, and here's another thing too is that Stick mentions that he's like, no one can lead them into danger like you can. And it's like, oh, is Daredevil supposed to be the leader? Well, I guess he's the most popular of the characters. He's the one that has the 2 shows and everything. He's the one that kicked it off. But they never really feel like, does he really lead the crew at any point?
Not really.
It's just kind of a collaborative effort.
It is.
So I don't even know why that line was there. But again, like, you know, I've been talking for a while. Like, what were some of your things, like, because I talked about, like, some of the moments I liked. Were there any moments you liked, like, some of the favorite scenes and stuff?
I did like most of the similar things. Like I said, there's a little bit too much downtime in this, even though I do like the titles that they're talking together, that any of the good parts we pretty much already talked about a lot. I kind of like the little triad, too, of Colleen, Misty, and Claire. They hang out a lot, and it's actually kind of cool because they play off each other quite well.
Yeah, I realize how many female supporting characters there are in this show, and they there's one thing I'm just like, man, I wish they had like a little bit more to do. Like Colleen Whale, I'm like, man, she should have been part of the crew or something. Like, but they do get time to kind of like bounce off like one another, and I wish they would have bounced off more. I want, you know, maybe Karen and Colleen have a conversation, or like. Malcolm, like I want to see Malcolm bounce off with characters.
That's the thing too, is that I think out of all of them, I think Jessica's like sub characters got chapter the most. Trish and Malcolm, basically, I forgot they were there.
Yeah, when Trish comes back up and I go, oh yeah, she's in this too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's like a subplot of her like you suppressing the truth on her radio talk show, and like that's basically all she gets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it! Like, and
that's more than Malcolm gets.
Yeah, and I think like there's a mismanagement of screen time for some of the characters, like because I'm like, man, these guys could have used a little bit, like just a tad more, because they're fun. They're fun to watch.
No,
like,
they are.
Anytime I get to see Foggy and like Hogarth gets one scene and then she's out, she's gone to never be seen or heard from again. I like that. Like Foggy is really into his own character now. Like he's got confidence. He knows what shit's down. I do feel like by the end of it, he's kind of accepted that like, well, I'm not going to change Matt, but like maybe I can help him through
like
this
direct
at some
it.
point. Yeah, and there's a lot of shorthand that's going on between the characters. Which is good. Like it will be a lot of help. Like you can't watch this show cold. You got to watch at least Daredevil season 1 and 2, and then you're gonna want to watch Luke Cage a little bit too, probably because you're gonna want to because a lot of Claire's stuff comes in on that point. So you're gonna miss a lot with her. Jessica Jones, I would say definitely watch it because it's like fucking really good.
True, but since you don't see much of Hogarth in there. I guess it's probably the most skippable.
Yeah, it's probably mostly skippable.
But don't skip it, please. It's amazing.
Yeah. What sucks is that Iron Fist does get like recapped or whatever, and like I would just say there is stuff that you're gonna miss if you haven't watched Iron Fist, but miss it, dude. It's not worth it. Okay, like you'll get caught up.
I didn't really feel like I was missing that much.
No,
like except for like what exactly the place was.
Yeah, I basically had to explain to you like, oh yeah, that's Bakudo, like that guy.
Yeah,
and Colleen and him have beef. Like that was basically all I really had to explain. So yeah, man, we've been talking for quite a while. I didn't realize we were talking this much about it, but yeah. Also, before we go into spoiler section, the how it wraps up, the ending. Is both good and not great. Like, the very end is, like, something that I'm like, eh.
They could have dealt with it better.
But, the final fight scene is pretty cool. Like, it's pretty nice stuff. It's great to see the Defenders all in a line together. Like, that's like why...
More of a circle in this one, actually.
Yep. I was surprised that the Punisher didn't show up a little bit.
Yeah, I expected at least a scene with him, but...
I thought there was a promo video with him in it, but maybe that was misleading marketing, maybe that was a fake. I don't know. But you know what? By the time we got so far in it, I'm like, yeah, he wouldn't have fit in here.
No, it would have been a shoehorn.
Yeah, so, I don't know, like, overall, I'm mixed on it, and I know I'm gonna come down once because it's still so fresh to me.
Right, we just finished watching it.
And I needed to gestate a little bit, but right now, I'm kind of like, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a lot better, especially with the 8th episode runtime. And I think where I knew we were in trouble was, like, we watched this over the course of 2 days, and we watched the first, 5 episodes yesterday.
Yeah.
And then, the last ones today, and I realized when I was, waiting for you to get off of work, and I was, working on some other stuff today, I was working on editing, I wasn't really, jonesing at the bit to get back into it. I'm like, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when we get there.
We'll watch it.
Yeah. And I realized that I reached that point with a lot of, the Netflix, shows. There's that point in Luke Cage where it turns halfway.
Yeah.
And I go, there's even that point in Daredevil Season 2. The first part, the Punisher part, I'm kind of like, oh shit, I gotta watch every, I'm in this. And in this one, it just doesn't have that. And I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to me, what I feel about it later, how much of the good parts are gonna just, stick with me and gestate, and how many of the things I did have a problem with, if they're gonna bother me, once I go start for a rewatch, when I rewatch the shows, how much of this is going to affect my opinion. Because I've already rewatched season 1 of Daredevil and season 1 and season 2 of Daredevil. And I found that, oh yeah, season 1 of Daredevil, I reaffirms and I go oh, it's really good. I actually might even like it a little bit more on the rewatch, knowing where it all leads.
Yeah.
Season 2, I feel like on rewatch of season 2, I was kind of it's it really takes a dip down when we hit the hand stuff.
Right.
Because it's just not as but not in a way that's so much, because we still get some Punisher stuff. So, it dipped down a little bit for me. So this one is going to go probably down a little bit for me if I were to think about it for a little bit. Because if I'm walking away right now from the ending and I'm not just fuck yeah, that was awesome, right? Probably not the best show. I think they could have made some different decisions. But it's not like I'm not excited for the other seasons of the shows, because if anything, this show has set up to where everyone else is pretty much ready for their next season of their show. We're ready. I'm ready for Luke Cage season 2, Jessica Jones season 2, and Daredevil season 3 probably at some point. I think they're working. Are they working on that one? I forget.
I don't remember.
I don't know what the order is. Punisher. Still excited for Punisher.
Yeah.
We get a moment with the Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, which makes me think we'll get a Daughters of the Dragon, if not spin-off, maybe just a reference in some of the other shows, which is a thing that they have a whole private detective agency in the comics, which is pretty cool. But yeah, right now, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
You know what? Definitely, it's definitely worth your time. You're going to get some, especially if you're a comic book fan, you're going to get some moments in here that are when Iron Fist uses Luke Cage as a human shield, when gunshots are going off, cool. I'm like, oh fuck, my nerd boner is showing, because this is good shit right here. And yeah, the downtime is just a little bit of a slog at some points, but overall, did have fun. How about you, buddy?
I liked it. I feel like this is very comparable to the Avengers movies, both in form and function. Whereas it's obviously a team-up movie, obviously we're going to get very similar themes in it, and yet the best part of it probably will not be the show itself. The best part of this will probably be how it will improve the next seasons of the shows. Giving the characters more depth, giving the world more depth, having the more chance for them to just pop in and out of each other's universes just periodically.
You know what? I was thinking of that same thing. I'm glad you brought it up. Is that this lays the groundwork for them to cross over on their shows a little bit more.
Yeah, even just 1 or 2 episodes, just like for Luke to come up to Jessica and be like, "Hey, you know, let's hang out for an episode or 2."
Yeah, it's like, I'm working on this other thing, but I'll help you out right now.
Yeah.
But later I have to go fuck off and do some other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Matt being a lawyer and like, oh, this crosses over with the thing that I do. That. If they lean harder into that, I think that'll be the show's strength. So
yeah,
I think
hopefully even the sub-characters. Well, we will see, you know, random bits of, you know, Foggy showing up with Jessica Jones and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really hope you're correct on that, because I would much enjoy that. I think the show would benefit from that.
Yeah, and overall, you know, the fight scenes are great. They really were. They were fun to watch. Even the minor characters showing up. I was a little disappointed that we don't actually get to see Sigourney Weaver like even kick a little bit of ass. I know she's
a couple moments where it's like they show her like she does know how to fight, but like she's sick and she just doesn't have it in her anymore probably.
And I would like to see just like one fight scene with Sigourney Weaver, just that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
but that's a minor problem. Overall, the biggest problem was just kind of like the whole fact that their whole grand plan was talked about way too much rather than actually showing anything. Like, we spent a little bit too much time with villains that weren't really interesting, but at the same time, it's kind of wrapping up their story in the season, so hopefully that means in a Defenders Season 2 we get something else cooler, a little bit more interesting, and if they do, you know, Iron Fist Season 2 and Daredevil possibly Season 3, that means they're gonna have to get brand new villains for these guys too.
Yeah, I think that would be great. If not gone completely, we need to take a break from the hand for a while. They've been the main villains for like 2 seasons of these shows, and now 2 seasons. Now with the Defenders, it's 3.
4 then, because you count really Daredevil Season 1 and 2.
Well, Daredevil Season 1, I'd say that they are definitely influential.
Yeah.
They're there. They're supporting Kingpin. But I wouldn't call them, like, we don't really learn that. Like, they only become super heavy in Season 2.
True.
So, like, for them, it's such a light touch. But, like, yeah, they are present there. So maybe, like, a half point. Like, 3.5, whatever. Still, it's just a lot.
That's way too much.
It's a lot to have them
for not really
around.
Interesting.
Look, I don't understand why that these cultist ninjas are not as interesting as they could be.
The ninjas are great as a tool. They're not really usually that interesting by themselves. I thought this was going to work because they got Sigourney Weaver in to be the face of the organization, and like it gives it more we'll get into it in a spoiler section because I want to talk a little bit about more in her ultimate ultimate turn with her character. Mm-hmm. Overall, unfortunately, this is probably a little bit lower rating than I actually feel, but I think I had to give it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
Yeah. Like, it's...
So I don't think that's unfair at all, because I was struggling, like, I think I'm going to give this a 3. And I was like, you know, I liked it a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But I can't go and give it a 4.
Right. And I can't give it a 7, because for me, that's something that's great. And this was good. It was solid, and like I said, the best thing I hope for this is it's a good springboard. And if that turns out to be, then that's fantastic. I will fully accept that then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to see what kind of connective tissue is in there.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, we're going to take a small musical break, and we're going to come back with a spoiler section right after this.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend, as an old enemy. Take your time, hurry up, the choice is yours, so don't be late. Take a rest, as a friend, as an old memory, memory,
Alright, come as you are, because we are doing the spoiler section for Defenders. Okay, so, you know what? I'll let you lead this off, wherever you want to start for spoilers.
Misty gets her arm chopped off.
Misty gets her arm chopped off.
Like,
holy shit.
Like, that was the bare minimum I actually knew of her character, so I'm like, bitch, are you gonna go into this fight with swords?
Yep.
You're gonna lose your arm.
Oh yeah, as soon as you see her show up, you're kind of like, well, I know what's happening here.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to happen in Luke Cage, to be honest, so I was surprised it took this long. So, for those of you who don't know, Misty Knight, she's a character from the comics. She's got a robot arm, because she used to be a cop, and then she lost it, I think in the line of duty, or maybe she was a soldier? I don't know. She loses her arm. That's the main gist of it. And she gets like an arm created for her, but I even think Tony Stark actually makes her a Stark arm, yeah. And it's super cool, and her and Colleen Wing open up a private detective agency, that, they run together in the comics called the Daughters of the Dragon.
Okay.
Which is fucking cool.
Just from little I've seen of, like I said, the little trio of those two and Claire, I really want that show.
Yeah, I would watch that.
And I want Claire to be in that show.
Yeah, and it would have Claire and Colleen Wing and
they'd all be the Daughters of the Dragon.
Yeah,
yes,
it would be awesome.
I want that show.
And I want to watch that.
Oh my god, could you really imagine a Netflix show, a Marvel Defender show that has 3 women of color as the main characters?
Look, it's Gotham City Sirens.
It is,
but on street level Netflix show.
I want this.
Come on, someone can sell that.
Please.
But yeah, but that comes into the final fight.
That is. We're skipping.
Yeah, because the Hand has captured Danny because Stick decided to be an asshole and drug Luke and Danny.
Okay, but let's face it, we saw this coming. Where as soon as oh, that's who he wants. Yeah, Stick's gonna try killing him, and literally it was only a matter of time before that happened.
And look, Stick has been such a thorn in our sides from. Especially I don't know what was annoying me about him in this season 2. Maybe it was because he was being such a patronizing asshole.
It's more the fact that he's run his usefulness. I mean, once he gave him the information, okay, then he has to either go away or die.
And I get that you're badass that you chopped your own arm off, but chopped your own hand off or whatever, and that's cool. I'm surprised that another thing I called him trying to kill Danny really early. Well,
it's just he's that kind of character.
Yeah, and I'm surprised it took him that long to try and do it.
Yeah,
but it did feel like, he had to work up his nerve to do it, he didn't really want to.
I think he just didn't want to do it in front of Matt, honestly.
Yeah, well, that and, he's supposed to be serving Kunlun, and Danny's supposed to be the protector of Kunlun.
Right.
And, which is weird, because you thought, they would play up that relationship a little bit more.
Not really.
But,
didn't happen.
Yeah, and he,
Well, I think I really got pissed at him when he was like, oh, well, Elektra and Maddie, they were my family. I'm like, bull fucking shit.
Well, we see that later, is that he actually did feel that for some reason, because he hesitates when he's about to kill,
one time he acts like a human being.
Yeah, and on some level, I guess he did think that. Although, I'll tell you what, even though they gave that small moment for him, I'm sick. I was sick of Stick. I'm sick of his crap. And I'm sick of him, treating you want to love somebody, that's your weakness, and he's pontificating on and on. I'm like, yeah, because the way you and the Chase did things, it really worked out for you. Oh no, you're all dead.
Yeah,
so maybe the way you did things wasn't fucking perfect.
If they showed any sort of results, maybe I could buy into his character a little better. But
yeah, I'm like, hey, good thing all those dead guys didn't have any emotional attachments or act like human beings or do anything with compassion, because that allowed them to not be killed. Oh no, they're dead? Huh. Maybe it wasn't such a big fucking deal then.
You will die, and no one will warn you.
Yeah. I think his thing was supposed to be I need Matt to be on my side, but he knows that Matt's super compassionate and he's not chased materially. Matt's gonna do what Matt's gonna do.
Yeah. Well, that and Styx betrayed him so many times.
Yeah, and there's no way Matt trusts Stick, and I like that he has that realization that when Elektra finally kills Stick, he has that emotional moment of fuck, I hated that guy, but he was the closest thing to a dad after my dad died.
Right.
So he's got that emotional thing on his chest. We see how dangerous Elektra is in that scene. They finally capture Danny, and they're down already a member of the Hand. The Hand is looking like they're going after Sigourney Weaver and gonna overthrow her. Like, it comes in at a scene right before the face-off between her and, what's his face? Puller of Strings of Nobu.
Yeah. What was his name?
Like, they're all from different places. I think he was the Japanese guy.
Yes.
And so Gao is in charge of China, the China land.
Murakami.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, that's a cool scene between him and Sigourney Weaver because they've had a lot of screen time together. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some sort of like tension between their characters. You know, they even mentions like the reason I didn't want to leave Kunlun is that I did want to leave. I just didn't want to leave with you.
Yeah,
and. We get I love those two actors together because we get a feeling like these are two characters that have known each other for a long time, mm-hmm. and they've had a very contentious feeling relationship. Like, they kind of tolerate each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, I kind of got the same thing with Madame Gao, is that she always seemed, like, subservient to Alexandra, but it was only because, like, well, it's because you fucked up one too many times trying to kill her.
Yeah, and it's weird because they are very, like, concerned over, like, one of us has died, and with Bakuto, I'm like, bitch, didn't you try to take out Gao like last season of Iron Fist?
Bakuto was definitely like, I didn't even realize he was part of the hand. Like, I literally had to ask you, like, is he one of the fingers?
Yeah, he's one of the fingers.
And I'm like, oh, he doesn't feel it.
It feels like a retcon, man.
It really does.
I'll tell you what, I did not get that feeling that he was that much in charge before in Iron Fist.
Well, we see really good scenes with all the other ones, and then he just kind of comes up after what's his name, the black one, dies, and just like, where the fuck did you come from, and why are you here? Like, I literally thought in that scene he was like some kind of servant.
Well, why even fight each other if you're just gonna bring each other back? Like, what the fuck is the point?
It's kind of dumb.
Because him and Gao had that whole beef in Iron Fist, and suddenly he gets killed, and he's just gonna come back. And I feel like does Madame Gao have no say on who comes back with the black guys? Like, no, fuck that guy. He fucked me over. I don't. He's a loose cannon. Like, fuck him. And so we get to the final reveal of like Sigourney Weaver is kind of back in charge a little bit, but the other three are still not very happy. Mm-hmm. So it's like the tension of like, okay, she might have bought herself a little time, like maybe she doesn't have to fight them yet, but there's some sort of conflict coming. And then, out of nowhere, in like episode 6, at the end of episode 6, I think, Elektra stabs her in the back. Mm-hmm. Like, during the scene, is just like, oh yeah, the devil in Hell's Kitchen that you want me to kill, his name is Matt, and I remember him now, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And
because she's been like slowly regaining like memories as time goes by.
Mm-hmm. And kills her and decapitates her. So, and that's for all you following along at home. Once you lose your head, there's no coming back with the dragon juice.
Without their heads, they're powerless.
Yeah. And this might be my problem with the ending of the show, is just that, like, okay, we did this so that I wouldn't see it coming, and that we get a big impact of like, holy shit, you thought she was going to last through the whole show, right? And it's like a big thing that she just totally got betrayed by the one thing she thought was her child, mm-hmm. which, don't get me wrong, has emotional impact when we realize like, oh, she had a daughter beforehand.
Yeah,
she really seems like she is very invested in Elektra, so it does play off in a way. I'm like, oh man, that sucks that the one thing you had faith in totally fucks you over.
Yeah.
And you see it in her face when she does die. And I'm like, okay, but now what? Because we have 3 other characters that, like Madame Gao and Bakuto, who we've seen in Iron Fist to lesser degrees. Like, I like Gao, I don't like Bakuto. The new guy, Murakami, or whatever his name is, he decides to not really nut up, like, when he had the chance.
Yeah, even though that seems to be his whole character.
Yeah, and they just kind of they let Elektra, like, I'm in charge now, which is a cool moment for her. But then I'm like, but yeah, we've seen Elektra, like, from Daredevil season 2 be kind of a pseudo villain. So I guess it's different when she becomes a full villain. Mm. But again, her motivation does not make sense that much to me, because it's like, I remember everything now, and I'm like, and I remember you letting me die. And I'm like, do you remember that you sacrificed yourself to save Matt?
Yeah.
Matt didn't let you die. You guys went into that rooftop to die together. That was your plan, and you sacrificed yourself to save him. And I don't know.
Yeah, hers, like, I get why they killed off Sigourney Weaver, because they had to have action scenes after this, and she probably wasn't going to have a lot of fighting scenes.
Right.
But Elektra just randomly being the villain, like, okay, but why? And they never even bother trying to explain why. She's like, I'm the villain.
Later they explain, like, well, I'm not really with a hand. All I want is the immortality or whatever, and just to do whatever I want. And then later with Matt, it's just like, this is all I wanted is to be with you. And I'm like, well, then why are you... You know what? Never mind.
Then you should have just killed all the hand.
And it's weird, because it's like he's telling, like, the reason that Elektra has not killed Daredevil is that she loves the game, she loves the fight, or loves him, and doesn't want to admit it, or something. Like, her motivation... We trade one really great actress and motivation for a pretty okay actress with a very muddled motivation for the last 2 episodes, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'm not feeling this, guys. I feel like something very important has left the show, and it's weird how you thought this was gonna play a little bit. I don't know. I feel like we could have gotten a bigger reveal, a bigger betrayal with Elektra if it happened in the last episode.
Yeah, especially if they were just in like, oh yeah, we have Danny Rand, let's go to the pit where we're supposed to like do whatever we need to do, and then just be like, have her get that close to her goal, and then have Sigourney Weaver's character die. And then we'd immediately just be like, okay, now it's time to fight.
Yeah, because, that would have worked a lot better.
You'd have just been able to almost glaze over and just been like, I'm just gonna kill everyone now because I just don't, like, just have her be pissed. Be like, no, I'm sick of being controlled, I'm gonna kill everyone, and just have Elektra be in a free-for-all with everyone else, and it just went chaos.
Yeah, she's just a force of nature. Like, no, fuck, I'm just basically a rage beast now. Yeah. I would have much... I think maybe that's the secret, is that her death just comes too soon. Like, it's too soon.
It's one episode too soon.
Yeah, and it reminds me of, like, when Cottonmouth goes in Luke Cage. Luke Cage,
that one's still worse, by far.
Well, when I think about it, it reminds me, because the emotion of that, the actual death of it, of Cottonmouth, fucking is amazing. That episode is great. But right after that, the show takes a significant drop in watchability, because it's like, oh, that means there's no Cottonmouth for the rest of this. I'm a little less invested now.
Yeah, see, I've said this in our review of that show, of like what I thought they should have done instead was taking Mariah and make her the villain.
Yeah, instead we got Diamond back. So yeah, we get a final face-off at the bottom of this tunnel. They're setting explosives to blow up the building. They have a very, very long talk about justifying blowing up this building, which I get it. Like, they're supposed to be superheroes. They're not supposed to be cool with murder.
They're the defenders.
And so they're like, well, do we really want to kill all these hand people? And it's like, well, they're kind of undead, zombie-like ninja organization, and they've been alive for like 1,000 years. If we let them escape, they're just going to be trouble.
Yeah.
So...
Which, I will admit, I expected Madame Gao to make it out of this. Because she just comes out, the whole entire show, she's so conniving and, like, backstabby, and she's, like, basically ready to, like, at the very drop of the hat, whenever it's most convenient, to betray Alexandra, and then she doesn't make it out of this, and I was kind of like, huh.
I feel like they will bring her back.
Yeah?
Yeah, I feel like they will bring her and Elektra back.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to bring Elektra back, but she's definitely...
I think it'll be a mistake, because I'm kind of done with Elektra.
Yeah.
She's had her shot with me. She's had a half a season of Daredevil season 2 where she was like, "This is all right, but you're not very impressing me." And in this series show, I'm like, "Great, this actress can fight, but her character
They don't know what to do with her.
Her motivation's all over the place. It feels like the writer, like it feels like every episode her writer changes what her motivation is. I don't know." And I'm like, no, I'm kind of done with Elektra. We've had a shot with her, not in this show.
Yeah.
Like, we're done. There's more villains in Daredevil we can deal with.
Right. And, like, it's, you know, We got the big guy still lurking around.
Oh yeah, Kingpin. I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah.
I'm still curious about him.
But Madame Gao was like, bar Sigourney Weaver, the most memorable of the hand.
Yeah, and I do like her a lot. And we get a cool fight scene with her and Jessica and Luke, where Daredevil is fighting the other two like actual fighter people. Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that Daredevil, even though like these are warriors that have thousands of years of experience, but Daredevil's just like, he's the most naturally gifted fighter that Stick has ever seen, so he's just like, no, I can take 2 of these guys on.
Yeah.
And fuck them, because I'm that awesome.
Even though he lost against Nobu.
Well, he almost lost against Nobu. And I feel like the costume has given him kind of an upgrade. Because like the costume is like, absorbs damage more.
This is fair. It is actually armor.
Like, it is actually armor, and I feel like he's now got better weapons with his like he has more elements to use against like the hand people now. Yeah. That and just standard superhero power level increase.
Well, to be fair, he actually did go through 2 seasons of a show. He bound to improve.
Yeah, and then of course Colleen Wing finally getting to kill Bakuto is like, it's satisfying on one level, but I'm like, yeah, but we already did this.
Yeah.
Like, we already did this in Iron Fist. Like, she didn't deliver the killing blow in Iron Fist, so this the only difference here is that she actually chops the motherfucker's head off.
Which, goddamn Claire, stay in the fucking background so you don't die. Because she's just like, oh, there's guys coming. I'm gonna start hitting them with wrenches. And at one point she like dual wields like socket wrenches. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
She goes all Fast and the Furious.
She does, and it's pretty awesome, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, okay, but please go back in the corner and hide.
You're
like,
a little nervous because you're like, okay, not everyone's making it out of this.
Luke Cage has this line, like, Riser going up, like, okay, if we do this, no innocent people die. I'm like, oh fuck, someone's gonna die.
Yeah, so they have a really cool fucking fight at the bottom of the pit.
It's funny because you see the 2 fighters, being Matt and Danny, fight, and then you see Jessica and Luke just hitting people.
No, and the choreography is fucking good, man.
It is. There's this really great scene where it's just a circular long shot, and that's a great scene.
And you'll see like one character, like Daniel, be on the ground and be like, "Oh shit, he's in trouble," only to get only for his attacker to get clotheslined by like fucking Luke at one point.
Like all these like ninja guys should just stop running places because they keep getting hit by Jessica and Luke.
They're fighting ninjas, but yet the defenders are the ones that are popping in between shots
they really
out of nowhere. Like they're just it's just like one scene they're there and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm. They're like the Titans from Attack on Titan. Like how did you get there?
Well, I loved it because they hop down, they're going in, and I'm like, we want our friend back. And they fight to a point where they team up and they get in the circle, and it's like, okay, we got Danny now, but now there's like 30 ninjas between us and the only way out.
Yes.
It's like, okay, what do we do? It's like, go through them. There's only one way out, and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is where we just go balls to the walls. Like, Elektra is fucking shit up in there as well. Mm-hmm. We got all the members of the Hand that are left down there, their disciples. At one point, like the elevator, like they actually escape, and the elevator is like is dropping, and like the ninjas are climbing up to get at them. It's like, it's good shit, man.
It's a pretty awesome scene.
It's like the scene I wanted at the end of Daredevil season 2. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like, no, I wanted this level of crazy shit happening. I immediately know like where the show is going when it goes down, and Daredevil is like, he hears the timer go off, like, okay, everybody go up, and he actually, I didn't realize this before, but he doesn't tell them that the bomb timer is going off. So as far as they know, they have until the thing is set. So I get why they leave him the first time. So, like, at first I was thinking, like, well, why did they leave him? Like, oh, wait, they don't know that the timer is now gone.
Right.
It still feels a little weird that they'd leave him directly behind, but I guess they think that they might have time to go up and then back down with the elevator, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll leave it. But anyway, Daredevil has, like, a last-minute, thing with Danny, or whispers something to him, and as soon as he whispers to Danny, and I'm like, this guy's he's dead, except not dead, because there was, at no point, I'm like, as soon as he stays down there, I'm like, oh, they're gonna fake his death.
Yeah, well, it got to the point where at the end where I'm just like, oh, come on, like, there are really good scenes at the end with characters wrapping up their stories. I'm like, just get to the point where you show Daredevil, because I don't like being strung along like this. Please just get to that point.
Yeah.
And, like, I was expecting, like, that's, the whole entire ending, actually, like, the wrap-up goes on a lot longer than I expected. Like, and I keep waiting, like, oh shit, they're just gonna, like, show him alive and nothing else, right? Yep, here it comes, and there it is.
Well, he has a final face-off with Elektra, and it's alright. Like,
well, Elektra still doesn't make sense, so that takes a lot out of it.
Her motivation changes in that conversation a couple times, and it's just them. It's kind of like,
for Matt, it makes perfect sense.
Well, look, the only part about I like about it is at the very end where Matt kind of like just drops like, this is how it was going to end, right? Like this is always how our story was going to end, as us like fighting, doing this. Like this is always how we were going to go out. And then they finally, they like just give it up like, yeah, I guess that, and they just kind of kiss near the end. And I'm like, okay, I feel like it wasn't earned very well, but I actually do like that moment. It feels fitting for the characters in this show.
Right.
What they've set up.
Well, let's face it, like, Matt was always going to die for his city. Like, that's an inevitable outcome for him.
He knows how his story ends.
Yeah.
And his story ends, he's one day dying doing this. Like,
he's a tragedy. He really is just a tragedy.
He is very much like Batman in that way of just like, this is what I do
until I can't
do it anymore. And I like the fact that Foggy has the guilt of like, he sneaks him in the costume, which is pretty good. Maybe like at first I kind of like that scene of like he gives him the costume, going like, I got your back sort of thing. And then he has that scene later with Karen, like, well, maybe if he gets this out of his system, we might get Matt back. And I'm like, yeah, because if you give, like, a heroin addict, like, a big-ass bag of heroin, like...
Yeah, it's like, let's them have go on one more bender. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but I actually, at some point I get where he's coming from of, like, well, maybe this will close the chapter on his, like, maybe get rid of some of his demons.
A little bit of closure.
Yeah. Maybe we won't get our full Matt back, but maybe we'll get something close to it. Like, maybe that's what he's bargaining for. And it does lead to a cool scene later where they don't make it out. They have to leave, Matt behind. And, the scene where they all start to come in and all the sub-characters are meeting with their main characters of the show and reuniting, and Karen and Foggy are just looking at the door
and just waiting,
and they realize that no one's coming.
Yeah,
and that's a good scene. And the real problem,
a little bit of a homeward bound scene.
The real problem with that scene is just it does not carry that much weight when we know he's not dead.
Yeah,
and the fact that I felt anything off of that was actually impressive.
It's still a really good scene.
No, it's like, you know what? I'm surprised that I feel anything off of it.
Because the characters do a really great job of showing emotion, which always helps.
And, yeah, so we see a small tease of, like, oh, is it Matt on the balcony? No, it's Iron Fist. Thought we got you then. But then, like, we get, because he whispers to Danny, like, protect my city.
Yeah.
And then we get the actual reveal of him in a hospital bed with a nun there, which at first when he wakes up, I'm like, oh, he made it to Kunlun in the alternate dimension, like, from the portal thingy.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so some of the Kunlun people got him or whatever. Because it sounds like Kunlun wasn't destroyed like we thought it was in Iron Fist.
No, it was just an Iron Fist closed the gate.
Yeah,
I separated it.
I think it just kind of closed itself off to protect itself from the hand, so that even Iron Fist can't find it anymore. I
actually thought that that's what they were going to. That was actually the finale of this season was going to be like, oh, he's going to open a gate to Kunlun, but it just opened a gate to a dragon graveyard instead.
Well, I think that's a place in Kunlun.
Oh, okay.
I think.
We're very clear on it.
Look, I'm not 100% sure on it.
Yeah. But it had dragon bones, which is apparently how the hand stayed immortal was.
Yes.
Dragon.
Yeah, with the dragon people that, like, Kunlun fights. I wasn't 100% sure on it. But anyway, they needed the dragon goo. Like, I got that much out of it. And yeah, we see him in a hospital bed, and, like, there's a nun there, so I'm like, oh, well, he's not in Kunlun, then where the fuck is he? How did he get out of there?
How did he survive?
Like, what kind of plot gymnastics are they going to have to do in order to, like, write him out of, like, he made it out of there somehow. So that last scene left me a little bit cold. And plus...
I mean, to be fair, he was sitting in a giant immortality cavern.
Yeah, I guess anything could happen. And the last sequence with, like, Iron Fist is now the protector of the city.
Mm-hmm.
That feels sort of right, but, like, him whispering to Iron Fist, protect my city, doesn't feel like... That part is like, well, why tell Danny? Like, you guys have had the least conversations out of almost anyone in the crew. Like, everyone else...
Because he knows that Danny's determined. The other two have a life they want to get back to. Luke has his own part of the city to protect, and then Jessica didn't want anything to do with this period. Danny's the most actual obvious one, in my opinion. Yeah,
okay. Well, maybe that makes more sense. I don't know. I felt like they had, like, in that last second, they had more of a connection than I thought that in the show.
To be honest, in that scene where he pulls them in, I was like, were they going to kiss?
Yeah.
Because it literally looked like, the way he pulled in, I was supposed to, like, dip him down and start kissing Danny. Like, I didn't see that coming.
I do, like, on one level, I do like that Elektra and Daredevil's kind of story ended there, because I think that those two are like, as much as I like the Daredevil show, I think, like, the actor that plays Daredevil, was it, Cox something, or, I forget. But he actually has, a kind of chemistry with the woman that plays Elektra.
Yeah.
And I feel like he has chemistry with her and not very much with Karen. Like that scene in the beginning with
They're
Karen.
a little awkward.
And I'm like, I don't feel like you guys are like at a point or even potentially a couple. Like it's weird how your scenes play out.
It's Charlie Cox, by the way.
Charlie Cox, that's what it is, yeah. And I don't know. You got any last minute thoughts before we get out of here?
Not really. Like I said, obviously we don't know exactly what happened to Daredevil, but he did die in a pit of immortality, so there's that. I don't know. Like I said, the best thing I can hope for the show is that it does just springboard something new.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple points where it just didn't explain some of its rules and stuff too, like Iron Fist using his fist to, like, punch a shockwave at a bunch of enemies, and I was like, what just happened? Could he do that?
Yeah.
He did punch a shockwave, like, on the ground in the end of Iron Fist before.
Well, he did do it after punching Madame Gao's fist.
Oh, maybe it was some sort of backlash?
Maybe.
Could have been. I don't know.
He also basically created a shockwave by punching Luke Cage, too.
Yeah, anyway, like, one of the other hand guys, Murakami, is, like, impaled on some rebar at the end, and Madame Gao just comes up, like, what's happening? It's the end. And I'm like, oh, that's like, to your point, it was surprising.
Yeah, just like, you're not actually going to be able to somehow sneak your way out of this, or at least not show you sneaking your way out of this? Mm-hmm. That's weird.
Well, and then Murakami, like, he never gets a lot done with his character, too. Like, it's like, oh, you were also kind of just... Because we needed 5 figures of the hand, I guess.
Racial diversity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, overall, again, I'm a little disappointed, but I think definitely worth the time. And plus, it's not very long. Like, you'll get through the 8 episodes in a pretty lickily split time.
It's a pretty fun watch.
I would say the fight scenes, like the 3 big fight scenes: the fight scene in the office, the fight scene at the restaurant, and the fight scene at the end in the caverns, is like, yeah, that's pretty much worth the price of admission just to get to those.
Yeah, and if something else, I mean, Sigourney Weaver's fun to watch.
Yeah, of her time there.
Yeah, like, say what you want about how her character ends, she's still fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I think that was my big problem, is just that, like, oh, well, why didn't her story go anywhere? Yeah. Like, damn. Yeah, but either way, I think we're going to wrap this one up here. We've talked for quite a while in this one.
It's true.
I think this one was longer than even some of our other 12 episodes reviews, but we had a lot of characters to talk about. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. If you would like to share us with your thoughts on Defenders, on how it wrapped up for you, love to hear it, some different perspectives and all that stuff. Maybe Iron Fist was your favorite part of the show, and maybe his actor isn't very flat, but If you want to, argue with me about that, go to unapologeticgeekout.com and leave a comment on the episode here. Or you can email me at unapologeticgeekout@gmail.com. If you want to hit us up on Facebook, maybe give us a message there, give us a like while you're there. And as always, if you want to support the podcast, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Maybe give us a 5-star review, a 5-star of the hand, because hand's got like 5 fingers. Maybe give us a 5-star review, and we'll read whatever weird fucking poetry that they like to read in the hand back and forth. I don't know. Like they seemed weird to me. We'll read whatever goes in that review box on the air, word for word. That's my guarantee. May zombie ninjas strike me down if I'm lying. I don't know, man.
Look, a zombie.
Oh my god, a zombie ninja! Get the dragon goo.
No. That's a zombie samurai. You're fine.
I want that to be a thing now. When a character dies in another show, I'd be like, "Go quick, get the dragon goo!"
Get the dragon goo.
But until then, we are Unapologetic Geek Out, and we're out.